Pay close attention to this security camera footage. 21:14 a.m., October 29, in Everett, Washington. The surveillance camera behind the Marshall family home captured exactly what you're about to see. Emma Caldwell, 32 years old, ICU nurse, stands in the backyard under the dim yellow light. Beside her is Logan Reeves, 35 years old, delivery driver, the man the entire family regarded as their future son-in-law. The wind blows through. Emma lightly pulls her jacket closer, and Logan immediately drapes his own jacket over her shoulders. Emma smiles, reaches up to adjust Logan's scarf, a small but deeply intimate gesture. Logan leans down, placing a brief kiss on Emma's forehead. She leans into his shoulder, saying something very softly. 20:15 a.m. Emma turns and goes back inside the house. Logan remains under the porch, watching her go. His expression changes, and he slowly backs away into the darkness out of view. 11 hours later, 911 receives a call from a neighbor reporting strange sounds at dawn. Everett officers arrive, force entry. Stepping across the threshold is a scene no investigator ever wants to see. Emma's stepfather lies in the hallway, body rigid, deep ligature marks around his neck, showing he fought until his last strength. Emma's mother is in the kitchen, head tilted unnaturally, large bruises stretching from collarbone to jawline. Emma's 17-year-old brother is bound to the leg of the living room table, mouth gagged, scratch marks gouged deep across the wooden floor, clear traces of final, desperate struggle, an entire family wiped out in a matter of hours. Emma Caldwell, 32, an ICU nurse at Everett General, was the kind of person anyone met once and remembered. Calm, thoughtful, devoted in a way that made the person across from her feel the world was a little less chaotic. She grew up in a fatherless home, caring for her younger brother while being her mother's rock. So from a very early age, Emma learned to put others first without a single complaint. The hospital environment, where patients fought for every breath and alarms could sound at any moment, only made Emma more mature, steadier, and more compassionate. She was the anchor for panicked patients, for exhausted colleagues after long shifts, and for both her mother and brother. A woman born to care for, to save, to soothe the heaviest parts of life. Logan Reeves, 35, a delivery driver for nearly a decade, was the perfect opposite, yet somehow perfectly complementary to Emma's life in a way no one expected. He grew up in the foster system, moving from place to place, with no memory of a real family dinner, no one asking if he was tired, no one hugging him on his birthday. Logan lived quietly, through small habits, showing up on time, causing no trouble, never losing his temper, always smiling no matter how exhausted. Co-workers described him as the kindest person they've ever met. Gentle, patient, never complaining. The first time Emma met Logan was on a heavy rainy evening when his truck skidded and lightly hit a guardrail near the hospital. Emma was the first to run out, wearing a raincoat, opening his door and placing her hand on his shoulder to check for injuries. "You're okay," she said, her voice light as wind. "Look at me. Breathe slowly." Logan looked at her for a very long time, as if borrowing her gaze to find an anchor for himself. Later, he told Emma that moment was the first time in years he felt truly seen. From that meeting, their intimacy grew so naturally that neither realized when it had become so deep. Emma supported Logan through his shoulder recovery, while Logan brought food to the hospital for her after long shifts. When Emma was too exhausted to stand, Logan drove her home, made her a hot cup of tea and said, "You need to catch up on sleep. I'll watch the living room until you wake up." Emma laughed. "Are you a driver or a bodyguard?" Logan only replied, "I'm yours." That sentence made Emma blush, but she didn't object. Gradually, they became the couple anyone could look at and believe they were made for each other. When Logan stepped into the Marshall family, he entered as if he had always belonged there. He was invited to Thanksgiving just 3 months after meeting Emma. Emma's mother bought him a new winter coat because he looked too thin in what he wore. Emma's stepfather lent him the car without hesitation. Her 17-year-old brother, Daniel, treated Logan like a blood brother. Weekends fishing at Silver Lake, evenings fixing bikes in the garage, nights playing video games side by side like a real family. Those moments made Emma look at Logan and smile quietly many times. She knew he had never had a real family, and now it seemed he was finding what he had lost. Logan returned all that love with such attentiveness that everyone sometimes thought he was born to care for others. He fixed the fence before dawn, changed kitchen light bulbs before anyone asked, cleaned the backyard every weekend, and once even caught Emma's mother when she slipped, holding her steady until she stood firm. That evening, as the whole family sat at the dinner table, Logan looked around. "I've never had a real family dinner until now," he said, voice catching. Emma's mother placed her hand on his, smiling gently. "From now on you do." Those small words, those peaceful and close moments, made anyone believe Logan was the best man Emma could ever meet. In her journal, Emma wrote, "This man is the peace of my life." There was no sign whatsoever that behind that gentle smile lay a secret Logan had buried for 10 years, a secret big enough to turn love into tragedy. In the weeks that followed, Emma began noticing very small changes in Logan, things that had never been there before and now appeared clearly enough to make her pause and think. He came home later than usual. His clothes had strange stains he couldn't explain naturally. When Emma asked, Logan just smiled, said Everett roads were really dusty today, and changed the subject. But one night when she got off shift early, Emma passed the hospital parking lot and saw Logan's truck parked in a dark corner. The window was cracked open. He was talking to someone on the phone, voice tense. When he realized Emma was approaching, Logan quickly hung up, the smile returning instantly. The first crack appeared when Emma received a letter from Idaho police. Inside was a request to verify a missing person case, with a photo of a vehicle captured on traffic camera, license plate matching Logan's. Emma asked directly. Logan didn't dodge. He explained right away. "I was delivering near there. Same plate as normal, babe." He spoke softly, but Emma clearly saw the fragile defensiveness beneath his calm tone. Though there was no clear reason to suspect yet, part of her began to stay alert. Then one afternoon, when Logan said he'd go to the car to get his jacket, Emma absent-mindedly opened the trunk to help, and what hit her eyes froze her body for seconds. A fresh coil of rope, a roll of industrial duct tape, and a bottle of liquid sedative labeled clearly. Emma stood paralyzed, heart pounding so hard she could hear each beat. Logan appeared right behind her, closed the trunk and said in an unnaturally calm voice, "Just work supplies. I deliver for a vet clinic. They often ask me to transport this stuff." The answer was smooth, tidy, but Emma's eyes had seen the abnormality. Clearly, obviously, impossible to ignore. From then on, Emma began to see Logan gripped by an unnamed anxiety. He demanded to check her phone just to feel secure, got upset when she texted male coworkers, and always found ways to keep her home on days off, surprise dinners, movie nights, even offering to drive her everywhere. The attentiveness of before turned into a suffocating encirclement that Emma no longer found comforting. One evening, Emma sat in her room, opened a message to her mother. "I think Logan is hiding something terrible." She hadn't deleted it yet when Logan walked in. He asked gently, too gently, making Emma afraid, "What are you texting? Can I see?" Emma said it was nothing, just reminding Mom about dinner. Logan smiled, but his eyes did not smile with him. That night, Emma fell asleep first. Logan lay beside her, eyes open. He watched Emma for a very long time, as if memorizing every line of her face or convincing himself of something. And that very night, in the silent darkness between them, thoughts began to form clearly in Logan's mind. He believed Emma belonged to him, forever. He believed if she pulled away, if the Marshall family kept suspecting, if anyone came between them, they were threatening the most precious thing in his life. To Logan, they weren't just obstacles, they were thieves trying to steal Emma from him, and if the world dared stand between him and the woman he loved, he would erase it piece by piece. October 20, 2024, 3 weeks before the night of the tragedy, Logan began systematically tracking the Marshall family's schedule, precisely as if preparing for a mission he had thought about for a very long time. He noted when they ate dinner, when they turned off bedroom lights, when Emma left for her shift, even the times the backyard camera activated and when neighbors usually walked their dogs past. Those numbers went into a small notebook always tucked in his jacket pocket, each page written neatly, carefully enough to send chills down anyone's spine. By day, Logan remained gentle, still bringing Emma hot coffee before her shift, still hugging her long as if afraid she would vanish. But every night, when Everett fell quiet, Logan slipped into the Marshall backyard. He stood in the darkness for hours, just to watch Emma through the kitchen window as she made tea or checked her phone before bed. His face pressed against the cold glass, eyes following her every movement with the absolute focus of a man who had decided this woman was the center of his entire world. Logan also had another place to hide the part of his life no one knew, a rented garage in Linwood, paid in cash, not registered in his real name. Inside that garage were things that would later make police realize Logan wasn't just dangerous. He had been dangerous for a very long time. On the wall were 14 photos of missing women from Idaho, Oregon, and Montana. All of them shared something with Emma: soft brown hair, gentle eyes, warm smiles. Below the photos were plastic bins containing ropes, handcuffs, pliers, surgical knives. In one corner of the table was an old leather notebook, the first page written in sharp, even handwriting. "Keep them with me forever." When the investigation expanded, they confirmed Logan was linked to at least 5 missing persons cases stretching back years, cases that never found resolution. Emma never knew she was the repeating image in that chain of obsession. By mid-October, Logan began recording his own voice, as if practicing for what he believed was inevitable. One segment made the entire investigative team shudder. Their family doesn't understand, but they will know. They won't be a problem anymore. 2 days before the crime, Logan prepared everything, wiped fingerprints from every item, reorganized tools, hid the knife and ropes inside his jacket. When he learned Emma had the night shift on October 28, and only her family would be home, Logan saw it as the perfect moment. In his twisted thinking, if he cleaned up those who could separate Emma from him, he was protecting her from the whole world, and then Emma would have only Logan left, exactly as he believed love should exist. October 28, 2024, 6:03 p.m. Logan walked into the Marshall front yard, carrying a small gift bag wrapped in brown paper. His familiar gentle expression. The front porch camera captured Emma opening the door, smiling when she saw him, then hugging him tightly as if a long ICU shift had just been erased by the arms of the man she loved. She tilted her head and kissed his cheek lightly, while Logan whispered something that made Emma laugh. Emma's stepfather stood at the kitchen door, waving, voice warm. "Come in, have dinner with us." Logan nodded, stepped inside with the ease of a true family member. No one noticed his jacket pocket was heavier than usual. No one knew inside were ropes, sedatives, and the knife he had wiped clean of fingerprints 2 days earlier. Dinner passed peacefully. Emma's mother asked Logan about work. Daniel talked about school, and Emma rested her head on his shoulder whenever she laughed. No one, not even Emma, sensed the fleeting tension in Logan's shoulders every time they grew closer. At 8:41 p.m., Logan stood up, saying he forgot the rest of the gift in the car. The door closed softly behind him as he stepped out, but instead of going straight to the car, Logan circled to the side of the house, approaching the outdoor electrical panel. He flipped the breaker for the lower floor. The living room lights flickered twice and went out. Inside, Emma's mother called out, "Must be the breaker tripped. I'll flip it back." But Logan had already returned through the back door, moving without a sound. 8:45 p.m. Emma's stepfather was checking the fuse box when Logan appeared behind him like a shadow. The rope he had ready looped around the man's neck in a sudden, powerful pull that kept him from screaming. He struggled, hands hitting the cabinet corner, grasping anything, but Logan tightened harder, pulling until the body went limp. Logan leaned close to his ear, voice chillingly low. "You shouldn't have tried to separate me from Emma." He slid to the floor, motionless. In the kitchen, Emma's mother heard the noise. She stepped out, not yet calling her husband's name when Logan pressed a cloth soaked in sedative over her mouth. She jerked back, hands trembling, trying to push Logan away, but her breathing quickly became ragged. Falling to the floor, she tried to crawl toward the stairs, eyes wide with panic. Logan grabbed her ankle, dragging her back like an inanimate object. She gasped, "Logan, what are you doing?" Logan bent down, eyes devoid of humanity. "Your daughter is mine." Wooden stairs echoed with running feet. Daniel, 17, had just reached halfway down when he froze at the sight of his mother on the floor, hands still shaking. "Mom?" He rushed forward, but Logan blocked the way. He slammed Daniel against the wall with force that choked him. Daniel tried punching Logan's shoulder, but Logan only shook his head, as if disappointed rather than angry. He covered Daniel's mouth, wrapped rope around his wrists, dragged him into the living room, and threw him onto the sofa like an object. Daniel gasped, "You said you'd protect me." Logan replied in a terrifyingly calm voice, "I will, but not today." The house fell into heavy silence, broken only by Daniel's ragged breathing and the faint rattle of cabinets as Emma's mother's body was dragged away. 9:41 p.m. The front door opened. Emma returned home after a long shift, set her bag down and called, "Mom? Daniel?" No answer. She walked deeper inside, seeing only darkness and an unnatural quiet. "Dad?" Emma flipped a light switch, but nothing came on. "Breaker again." As she turned, Logan stepped out from the corner of the room where the porch light only faintly reached half his face. His smile unfolded so slowly it unnerved Emma more than if he had screamed. "Everyone's asleep," he said. "It's just us now." Emma's eyes dropped to Logan's hand, a faint smear of blood trailing to his sleeve cuff. She backed away, breathing hard. "Logan, what did you do?" But the question never got an answer. Logan advanced, blocking her path, whispering, "I did it all for you." Emma ran up the stairs, heart slamming against her ribs. Logan chased, each step echoing like a hammer on the floor. The bedroom was the only place Emma could lock, but she only managed to half close it before Logan shoved it open, slamming it against the wall. Emma grabbed the bedside lamp, smashed it into Logan's head, making him stagger. She ran back down the stairs, breath ragged. But as soon as she reached the kitchen door, Logan caught her, scooping her up like a struggling child. "You don't understand," he said. "I'm protecting us." Emma thrashed, screamed, but the sound was swallowed by Logan's hand. 10:06 p.m. The camera captured Logan's shadow, dragging Emma across the backyard. Their two figures merging into one blurred dark shape before disappearing into the tree line leading to the river trail. 10:32 p.m. to 12:10 a.m. In the wooden cabin Logan had prepared on Spencer Island, Emma was tied to a chair. Logan talked to her as if nothing was wrong, asking if she was cold, saying tomorrow they would leave Everett, that no one would hurt her anymore. Emma begged him to stop, said they could find a way to fix it, that he was afraid, not loving. Logan only shook his head, placed his hand on her cheek. "You won't leave me anymore." A small camera, hidden in the cabin, recorded Emma's final 2 hours, her pleas growing weaker, longer silences, and Logan's shadow moving back and forth in the narrow room like a man carrying out what he believed was right. 12:10 a.m. The screen froze on a still frame, and Emma Caldwell moved no more. When the first 911 call was logged and Everett police entered the Marshall scene, they quickly realized the 3 bodies in the house were only the beginning of something far larger. What they found immediately pushed the case beyond a family murder. The investigative team began checking every camera around the neighborhood, and within an hour they obtained footage from the Marshall backyard CCTV showing Emma and Logan together at 2:14 a.m. What chilled them wasn't the kiss Emma gave Logan, but the way Logan stared directly into the camera a few seconds after she went inside, an empty gaze like darkness itself, a silent declaration of what was coming. Investigators slowed it down, replayed every frame. Logan disappeared into the area the camera didn't cover, and from there everything was black. They ordered a check of Logan's apartment, but it was almost empty, clean to the point of suspicion. A young officer said quietly, "It's like he never lived here." But the major breakthrough came when they followed Logan's GPS data and travel habits, discovering he frequently visited a rented garage in Linwood. When police broke into the garage, everything inside made the entire team pause for seconds to catch their breath. On the wall was a list of 6 missing women over the years, dates of disappearance written in red marker. Below were boxes containing ropes, handcuffs, surgical knives, and an old leather notebook recording Logan's disjointed thoughts, including lines like, "She's the last one, she's perfect, and no one is allowed to take them from me." The whole team understood. Logan hadn't just killed the Marshalls, he had been a serial killer for a long time. When news of the secret garage reached the FBI, the case became federal. A large-scale manhunt stretched from Everett to Spokane. 48 hours after the crime, a highway camera on I-90 captured Logan's abandoned vehicle on the shoulder, door open, containing only a pair of gloves and a water bottle. Logan had fled on foot. Canine teams tracked his scent along the dense forest east of Washington, but found nothing beyond faint footprints heading toward Spokane. The FBI issued a statewide alert describing Logan as extremely dangerous, with a pattern of stalking victims before acting, 3 days later, a Spokane resident reported a man sleeping in an abandoned shed on the outskirts. When police stormed in, Logan didn't run or resist. He just looked at them, gave a faint smile as if he knew this would happen. In Logan's backpack was an old laptop, and when opened, the FBI found numerous videos of previous victims, women who resembled Emma, bound and recorded in their final hours. One investigator had to step outside, lean against the wall and breathe hard. Another shook his head. He's done this before. When asked about Emma in the first interrogation, Logan didn't answer. He only tilted his head and offered a faint smile, the kind that dropped the room temperature by half a degree. Every question about motive, about where he took Emma, about why he targeted the marshals received the same prolonged silence, almost satisfied. Logan Reeves' trial took place 6 months later at Washington State Superior Court, with media attention unseen since Ted Bundy. Prosecutors described Logan as an organized patient predator who selected victims based on resemblance and acted with absolute coldness. When the CCTV of Emma hugging Logan that night was played, many in the courtroom broke into tears at the brutal contrast between Emma's love and the darkness hidden behind Logan's eyes. It didn't take long for the jury to reach a verdict. Logan Reeves was sentenced to 6 consecutive life terms without parole, no chance of reduction. As the sentence was read, Logan stared straight ahead, face expressionless except for the briefest curl at the corner of his mouth, as if everything that happened was part of a script he had prepared long before. And in that moment, everyone understood. Logan didn't kill out of anger. He killed because he believed he was born to do it. Not long after the trial ended, every effort to find Emma's body was escalated to the highest level. Logan showed no remorse whatsoever. He stared at the wall whenever Emma's name was mentioned, eyes empty as if she had never existed. But police didn't give up. They scoured every area Logan could have passed during his escape, searched every inch of wilderness on Spencer Island, set up thermal cameras, used drones. On the 8th day, a search team discovered a small wooden cabin half a mile off the trail. The cabin door was padlocked from outside. When they broke it open and stepped in, there were only a few seconds of absolute silence before one investigator raised a hand to cover his mouth, turned away, and hurried outside to steady himself. Emma was found seated, head tilted to one side, eyes closed as if enduring something until her final breath. The rope still bound her wrists tightly, the shirt she wore on her shift that day unchanged. One investigator said quietly, "The way she's positioned, it's like he wanted to keep her one last time." The Marshall family, the gentle mother, the devoted stepfather, the funny and spirited 17-year-old brother, were wiped out in just a few hours, destroyed by the very person they trusted, welcomed into their home, considered family. Emma was the final victim, and the one Logan kept the longest. When the Marshall family funeral took place, rows of white chairs filled with Everett residents, many who had met Logan at least once could not believe it. "He had dinner with us," one neighbor said. "He helped me when my car broke down." I never thought, an officer at the scene later stated. That CCTV footage shattered Logan's perfect 7-year mask. Without those 19 seconds, we might have misjudged this man forever. The lesson left by this case is not just the tragedy of a family erased, but the painful truth that killers are not always lurking in shadows, not always dangerous strangers on the street. Sometimes they sit beside you at family dinner, help you decorate the Christmas tree, open birthday wine with you. Trust is the most beautiful thing in a relationship, but trust does not mean ignoring your own intuition. And the camera, though it could not save Emma or her family, still accomplished one thing the killer wanted buried forever. It told the truth. It showed the loving mask fall when Logan thought no one was watching. It showed the last moment Emma stood under the porch light, still smiling, still believing she was safe. And sometimes, just a short piece of footage like that is enough to remind us that evil doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes it comes from the person you believe will protect you. If you want to hear more true crime stories told fully and authentically like this, hit subscribe so you don't miss any episode. Thank you for joining me. See you in the next case.